So if I have to like go in alignment with AI, what should I learn?
Computers are dumb.
Yeah.
If you don't tell them what to do, they don't know anything, right?
So in my college also, we asked to write Fibonacci series in a paper.
And how does it help? How does it help to actually get you a job?
So yes, startup. That is where I got exposed.
And if you have to stay in the job as on date, I feel you need to update yourself with extreme skills.
First place na Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of CogentX Podcasts, where we will be having insightful conversations at the intersection of technology and leadership. Here we bring together a diverse group of professionals like software engineers, QA analysts, business analysts, CEOs and CTOs to share their unique journeys, expertise and perspectives. Each episode aims to dive into the experience of our guests, exploring their career paths, their challenges they have faced and innovative solutions they have developed. Whether you're a viewer, you're a listener, or an inspiring tech professional, a seasoned practitioner, or someone who's keen on understanding the latest technology trends, our podcast offers the valuable insights into the real-world applications. CogentX Podcast aims to provide a comprehensive view of multi-phase tech landscape. Our conversations aim to inspire, educate, and equip the audience with the knowledge they need to navigate through this tech career and stay ahead of the emerging trends. So let's go straight into the podcast. So hey guys, how do you guys feel today to be here? Are you guys excited?
We are absolutely it's a thing which have been, all of us been trying to pull off for a very long time, and the effort goes into making a podcast. Or even smaller aspects of this. I thought okay, people are sitting, they're just recording some stuff, they're putting it up. But when we started it, this might be a knowledge sharing hut which we are trying to build. But the effort which goes in, right? For each aspect of this, or even the part of it where we are actually trying, set up this, set up that, record this stuff, put on these things. So it's like something very new. I'm very excited. I have recorded a lot of stuff in the past, but it's like I am sitting in a room and I'm doing it all by myself. Right? So now, since we are building a community and a couple of people, everybody are coming up with the same mission. That's something I'm really excited, and I think this is going to be a long-term venture which we are going to work on, and I'm really excited. Exactly. Couple of words from you, Karthik.
I'm very much excited. I've never been put up to a camera and speak to a camera. I've always spoken with humans. And this is the first time I'm in an actual podcast, and I'm very much excited to share my experience and stuff.
Okay.
So you mean we are not humans like you then?
I think you're developing too much of code. You're into coding a lot of time. You have to come out of it, try to communicate to humans a lot, I guess. Okay. So let's cut to the chase. So I know about you guys. Let the larger audience actually know about you all as well, what you do on a regular basis or a day-to-day basis. So any one of you start, like Pawan or Karthik. I would like to know more about you.
You want to take it first, or should I?
So as you mentioned, I'm Karthik. I'm an SB at CogentSoft. So I'm a full stack developer. On a daily basis, I create software that basically solves multiple corporate problems. Currently, I'm focused in mobile application development, and we are working on we are basically working around an e-commerce product. That's about it. To start off.
Okay, so you Pawan.
So again, just for a formal introduction, hi, I'm Pawan. So I've been working as a freelancer, developer, trainer for most part of my life. And this year, starting fresh from the 1st of January, I thought I should take a career path, and I found a better place, I found a better community, I found a better leader. When I spoke to CEO of CogentSoft, the first thing I felt was, okay, I'm going to get into something which can be scalable, which is very fresh and has a very good working ecosystem. When I even spoke to the supporting staff or even from the HR team, it was pretty new for me. Everything felt raw, right? So that is something I was looking forward to. When I said corporate, I was very scared of corporate from the very beginning. Right? I avoided corporate for almost 5 years of my life. And when I had to get into one, I attended a lot of interviews in the process. I spoke to a lot of HRs, but when I spoke to HRs here and the management here, it was much felt like it's very raw, and they were trying to build a community which was like with a lot of like workspace, like the freedom which you have in your workspace, all this stuff, and that felt nice, right? And when I had a word with the CEO and his vision, which when we spoke about it, it sounded very exciting and interesting. So then that is the time I was like, okay, it's time to get into corporate. And I tried my hands on, and I'm having a wonderful journey so far. And I'm really loving this process. I'd say, I'm not a person who would say I love corporate, but now I think I'm falling in love with the corporate structure and working, because development happens either ways, right? I work as a freelancer or I work as a full-time employee, but this I think is something which I've been looking for, or something which came to me at the right time. And now life's been going as a developer, and I'm very much interested in other aspects as well. Apart from development, I try to involve myself in the product activities, probably design or coming up with new ideas or understanding the product much better. And the user perspective, right? So all these things. So I'm sort of fascinated about everything. I try to put my hand in every possible aspect. The jack of all, master of none thing. Right? So, but development is something which is my niche, which I love to work and spend a lot of time on. But right now, everything's going hand in hand because of the space and the opportunity and the products which we are building. It's pretty fun.
So when you say freelancing, right? So everybody doesn't have a trajectory of freelancing and then moving into corporate.
Yes.
So how did that actually take place? You did freelancing. Did you build products out of it? I am asking to both of you. So since you are a development guys within our firm, so does freelance come to you naturally, or how do people reach out to you?
Even I'm curious to know about how do you make the connections and stuff.
How do you actually make that connection first happen? I know that you graduated from college. At that point itself, people started reaching out to you. How did that transition happen? Because you would be earning a couple of bucks at that point of time.
Yes.
And being a kid right out of college and earning certain amount of money,
that feels good.
will automatically feel good. And when you spend that money, obviously it will feel good, and you will not be. You're the own boss, right? At that point of time.
No commitments as such.
No commitments as such. And then probably you'll be like, okay, I am my own boss. I will probably do this, do that, and then I'll wake up at some odd time, and then get the thing done, and I'll get the money. Yes. So how did that actually happen? Can you tell more about that journey?
Definitely. So getting into that, so I started way early, right? I didn't start right out of the college. I started it when I was in the college. So I started doing. I never wanted to get into freelancing. It's just that some references came into me. Some people wanted by faculties, by students. They wanted a simple applications built for the college purpose. So college usage.
So college reached out to you.
Yes. So they formed we formed an internal community. Then I figured out we were working fine, and I wanted to scale it. I just got to know at that point, probably back in 2019, second year of my engineering, I can sell something. Right. So I've been selling whatever I get throughout my life. I would sell printouts when I was a kid. As I grew up, I was a guitar tutor. I kept on selling whatever the skills I learned. When I spent a couple of months on learning it, I master it or practice it to a certain extent, where you can start sharing the knowledge. The moment you start sharing something, you can definitely monetize it. So that was a core concept which always I had in my head, but I never chased freelancing as such.
So it chose you.
I can't say that, sort of. So things came. I just went with the flow, to be honest. And when
he's got the knack for it, I would say. He's got the knack for it.
He's got that natural way of communicating.
Maybe that I was a very big introvert back in the time. Nobody's never gonna believe it, but
nobody's going to believe it.
No, but that was a life-changing thing. So when I started selling this, and I had to communicate with a lot of people. So I realized if I don't socialize at that point, I'm going to be probably left behind in the whole race. I mean, everybody's running. Everybody's running a race in a different aspect, different perspective. But at that point, I felt I socialized more. I met more wonderful seniors in my college. Right. So these guys had every possible network. Some of them graduated right out of when I was in my second year. Some people graduated from fourth year. Right. So these people got into corporates and they got some references. They probably their relative wanted an application. Right. They just come out can you do this, right? And I built this network by sort of like having two things. One is I was part of the cultural community, so I could talk to more people. And the other thing was I was doing printouts in hostel, which was not allowed, by the way.
Okay.
So I would sell reports to seniors.
Oh, you would charge for it?
Charge for it, obviously. Nobody does it for free. Why would you do it for free?
Reports as in like
reports as in the project reports.
Okay.
So we had a like problem in our campus that you don't have a Xerox shop, right?
It is somewhere in an island or something.
Yeah, you have to like walk really far.
Okay.
And for someone living in the hostel, if you get the printout in the hostels, everybody would prefer it, and they were ready to pay even ₹1 extra for each printout.
Okay.
So the reports I'm talking about are probably like thousands of pages or 300-400 pages reports, and I would get 4 copies because there are a team of 4 or something like that.
He's got that entrepreneurship mindset from back then.
So monetize whatever you can.
Monetize
I had a printer at home, I got it to hostel. I started printing day and night. I spoke to a lot of seniors. Now since like I was giving them the service whenever they want, like even in the night if they wanted a printout for the next day, I was available for them.
Okay.
So that built a trust.
Okay.
And I mean sort of I didn't want to monetize this part, but sort of like a network built. So now once the project started coming in, there were a lot of aspects key people wanted to do, like wanted me to do it for free.
Yeah.
And that is the first thing anything comes, right? So now how do I change it to getting the funds actually in, or making money out of it, or monetize it? That was the tricky part. Took me a lot of time for that. Since I started little early, like I know people who have started way too early than me. But for me, I feel okay, I started the right time in the college. So in college, I had nothing to lose.
Okay.
So my hostel fees is paid, my tuition fees is paid. So I don't have to worry about the stay or the food or anything, right? So I can try stuff. I just have to like again invest my time in it.
Yeah.
So I spent more time. I did a lot of pilot projects, a lot of MVPs for startups. Now here all these were, some of them were our own ideas. Like my peer had an idea or my colleague had an idea or something like that. And once I got into a network, I started meeting more freelancers.
Yeah.
So there were projects where I met 2-3 like another senior freelancers who've been doing. Again, at the moment you meet someone, you can buy their experience, right?
Yeah.
So you talk to them, you give them your time, they're gonna tell you the hacks.
Yeah.
So
but
this.
I have a question. Like, see, you must have, you were in a, I believe you were from a reputed college, and
Yes.
You must have had campus interviews, some big
A lot
shots,
of them. A lot of them.
and I believe you must have cracked them too.
Yes.
So, but ideally speaking, from our cultural backgrounds, we would always be focused towards getting a job,
Doing a 9 to 5.
Yeah, doing a 9 to 5.
Yes.
Like, let's say if you tell your parents, if you would have tell your parents that I'm going to freelance for some time and then get into a job, they would have definitely got scared because I've invested so much money and time into this guy, and this guy is like they must have got scared, no? Like, how did you convince your parents, and like how did that happen?
So coming to that aspect, my mom was very supportive.
Okay.
Like in every stage, whatever I wanted to pursue, she never stopped me with anything.
Okay.
And even my late uncle, he was also very like supportive. He's the one who funded my whole education. Right? So he told me like whatever you want to try. He even actually got me into a job as well. Okay. Because he wanted me to get into a stable place. He got me with his very close friend because he has invested in me for that long. Sort of like things turned upside down at some point, but that was very productive for me at some end.
Okay.
Right. So it was a little difficult to convince my uncle, but he was very supportive from the beginning. So, but he was just scared. What if I lose my track? If I can like actually monetize it, I can actually earn what my peers would be earning at the corporate.
Initial fear was there.
So that was there all along, and I sort of like had to like convince them, talk to them, I can do this, and the fact that I had to show them early results, right? And I had 2 years extra time. And especially I'd say lockdown contributed a lot for me. Like that whole period where I didn't have to attend classes, I'm saving 5 to 6 hours of daytime, so I'm not getting ready, other conversations. I'm sitting at my home, I'm idle, so I could spend a lot of time on actually trying things, right? So I had space to experiment. So even in 2020 early, that is when I started Flutter. And I got an opportunity from ISKCON community, like where I've been part of the community. So out of nowhere, they called me for an unapplied internship. Like that came up, and they're like, okay, you have to build an app in Flutter. So I haven't even heard about Flutter till like I was a native Android, native iOS developer. and I was doing it out of my college curriculum. Right, so college curriculum was designed in such a way that I had a specialization in mobile application and cloud tech. So I was mostly focused on mobile application a lot. So you can pick one of these niche or do AWS certifications or GCP certifications and get into cloud tech completely as well. So but I always felt, okay, I can create something out of it, right? I find joy in creating things. It can be a product entirely. We can probably get a solar water bottle or a
physical product
or a virtual product.
Software.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the days like 2017 to 2020 is where we started adapting a lot to Instagram and Facebook, right?
Consuming social media.
We turned 18 and 17, 16. That is the phase we got ourselves engaged a lot. And this aspect actually helped me a lot to know that okay, I can build something which is virtual and it will actually add a value, right? And the ability to create something out of nothing, like what is the resources you need to create a product, tech product?
Exactly.
Like you might need a lot of people, but if you're working on by yourself,
all you need is an idea.
Yeah, an idea, a laptop, a very good machine. I always say if you want to build great things, have a good resource. That the only resource we invest is in a laptop, right? So I put my money in my laptop way early in 2017. I bought a very good machine which would last for another 4 years with the technological advancements as well. I got like i9 7 Gen, which was latest back then, and it ran till 2021. So then I had to switch to a Mac for better, design and development and even the work experience. Now I really I have to.
Everybody wants to own a Mac at some point of time.
Yes, the premium,
premium quality,
feel, and also the development pace was really good at that.
Okay, so we've known about your freelancing journey, right? So Karthik, let me ask you this question. Like he has a completely different journey of onboarding into CogentX. Like, what do you think? Like, I know that you went into an engineering college as well. Did you get the same exposure like he did, or was your journey completely different?
Not so much. Mine was entirely different. Back in my 7th or 8th semester, I was not exposed to freelancing not that much. My mindset was basically like
get a job.
Get a job somewhere. I didn't even know if I could get a job. If I tell you what I've been doing all during those lockdown periods, I was simply wasting time, nothing else. Like that's what I've been doing.
Instagram.
Not Instagram. So there is this PC game called Apex Legends. I played about 1,000 hours of that game.
In lockdown?
In lockdown. And like in the over a period of 1 year, I played that is what I've been doing. And at a point, I realized myself I played this game so much.
You're wasting time.
Yeah, I'm wasting time, and
you could monetize the game too. Gaming is a career.
It is a career, but I was not so
good
at it.
But you didn't explore that part where you wanted to
I tried streaming and all. I did try streaming. I did try streaming in Twitch and all. But you have to be. See, it is like you'll be competing with global players. It is very very hard to.
How does actually gamification work? I'm not a gamer. To be honest. Like since you have tried that out. So
I generally what happens is
you start a live stream all of a sudden and then probably post it.
You can do that. Anybody is free to. You can do YouTube streaming. See,
because I've seen certain things like PUBG, which was during the
COVID.
People used to stream from their console, which is like a mobile phone. Was that your forte or?
No, I had a gaming PC. I was into that back then.
That's pretty professional.
It is not lights, But the game that I say, it's a PC game. It's not a.
The RGB lights.
Yeah, RGB lights. I still have it.
You still have it?
Yeah, I still have it. It's an MSI. It's a very nice configuration laptop. At a point during the COVID period, I was checking my Instagram screen time one day.
Okay.
And it was literally 7-8 hours a day. In Instagram.
He was working full time for Instagram.
Yes, that's what happened. And
consuming content.
Yeah, I was just consuming content, and over a point, whenever I look myself, I put on a lot of weight during that period.
How does it actually affect your?
It affected. At a point, I was so bored. I had no physical activity. I couldn't sleep at night. I sleep at very weird timings. Not even full 8 hours. Intermittent sleeps I do.
Okay.
Very bad food intakes and all. At a point, I felt like I'm wasting time. I've been doing engineering in computer science. I had to do something out of it.
Okay.
And so what happened? I had a mission. It was a pretty nice mission. So what I did is, around my circle, my friends from my college, from my class, they were all into different aspects. One guy was looking into cybersecurity. One guy was looking into AI.
Okay.
And at that time, what I was exposed to is mobile application development. And I thought let's just start, just to tell people what you've been doing all your during all those lockdown times. Because it was still not the lockdown was not lifted at that time. So I thought let's just start something. And within a span of I think from scratch, because I was not good at programming back then too.
Okay.
So I created a native Android with Java back then with Java. Who does native Android with Java nowadays?
Very rarely. It's outdated now.
Yeah, it is outdated.
You have to use Kotlin.
I chose Java back then because that is what I knew a little, because back then we don't often write code in computers. In my college also, we'll be asked to write Fibonacci series in a paper.
And how does that help? How does it help to actually get you a job? Land you a job?
No idea. No, that is the
personally
background from my college.
I personally feel that that's actually lame questions.
Yeah.
Which engineering
I remember memorizing the whole thing.
Yes, that's what I used to do.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
There was something called as I forgot the name. Like a palindrome series.
Yeah.
So that was my question in computer science practicals in 12th. Okay. So I was a senior. Back to you guys. Okay. Maybe you must have had it a bit later.
We had the same stuff.
I had to mug up all the code and then write it out. When I write it out also, I got that certified. But the fact is, when I had to do it practically on the machine, it didn't work.
Yeah.
I wrote the same code, but it didn't work. And then I had to do something or the other to actually make it happen. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen. Yeah. But I had to fake
somehow it happened for me. Somehow it happened for me, because whenever I was asked to write programs and people from my college faculty, everything, I was not getting the right picture of computer science when I was in college, at least till before lockdown.
Why did you actually choose that?
Yeah, in the first place.
That is another story. I'll tell that.
That's a different story.
Basically, I never wanted to be I wanted to become a marine engineer. I wanted to sail and I wanted to come across the globe.
Okay.
But due to financial reasons, back in 2017, in a reputed university, for you to get your marine engineering course done, it would have costed somewhere around 20 to 25 LPA. And
now also it's the same.
Now it's the same. Okay. It could be much more, because I was looking around Chennai.
Okay.
If you want to do it somewhere outside Chennai, somewhere in Vizag, there are reputed universities for it. They'll cost more. I thought I'm not a very extrovert person who can do social any content creation or anything. Back then it was not also very popular. In 2015-16 it's not so popular. So I'm let's just do this. And the initial stages of my engineering, it was I got hit pretty bad.
You had arrears?
No, I never had arrears.
Then how do you say that you got hit bad?
I'll explain. Because after completing my schooling and everything, I thought my 12th standard public exam is the only last exam that I'll be writing in my life.
Okay. So you were that.
I was not exposed to the fact that in college we'll have two semesters every year, which is much bigger than a.
This is the story of every kid goes.
So you didn't have exposure.
I didn't have exposure. But I knew that if you get an engineering degree, it's a professional degree.
Okay, so you blindly went.
I blindly went into it, and some got pretty good out of it.
Okay.
Naturally.
So what would you tell, right now in this era, 2024, if you have to do your research? Okay, first is research, right?
That is
so what would you actually tell people that are coming up, seeing this podcast or something of that sort? What would you tell them? Do your research first?
Yes. See, first of all, they have to find what they are good at.
Yeah.
So that is the key point.
Exactly.
And the background that I come from, kids generally spend a lot of time in watching movies, series, gaming, which is all fine at that point.
Yeah.
But you have to at some point you have to know what you are good at, because if you choose you are not good at, you don't know what you are good at, and you choose a wrong career, you're going to hate it for the rest of your life. At least until you change the career.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in engineering, you like it, then only you do.
And but I know this personally. A lot of people blindly took engineering in my college, and they were. See, when I joined engineering, there were like 100 people, 2 sections combined. They dropped out like in chunks. They couldn't just do it. They were like, I don't care about the money, I don't care about it. They were dropping out. At the end of the engineering course or something, we had only 65
So, I know that you did it in Chennai, you did it in Bangalore. Okay, so does it work like this in Bangalore also? You choose a specific course, you actually start studying that course from day one. Do you guys have that opportunity to shift after like first year?
Yeah, we can shift after first year.
Because that doesn't happen on
it doesn't. So
you guys can explore in that one.
I think he's from a different university, and my college is affiliated to Anna University, where we are bound to go through Anna University.
That gives an upper hand.
Yeah, that gives an upper hand.
So like for me in first year of my engineering, I'll explore all the branches,
all the courses,
mechanical, civil. And if I want to switch, I can switch it right away.
I wish I could go back and do all that.
But you gotta have like really good grades.
Really good.
You should have above 9.5.
So coming back to, I have this question which I usually ask. Like, does grades actually matter?
Grades don't matter, but certain aspect. Let's say there are seats filled in mechanical engineering, and they have to like fit you in there, right? At this point, they can't get a 6-pointer to go to mechanical engineering and do the compromise because, like, see, again, every class has a capacity.
So, mechanical engineering friends of mine also do IT. They don't go to a core job like an engineering sector.
Yes.
So,
not the job part. I'm telling about like the classes when we are switching right after the first year, right?
Yeah.
So at that point, right after first year, if you don't have good grades, the college is not much confident in you to put you in a different branch. Like right now, you already opted for something.
Okay.
And this seat is going to be vacant.
Okay.
And there is one seat which they have to compromise, or probably someone's switching from there. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't actually cause a problem if one guy from mechanical comes to computer science and you go back, right? Because every class has like 60 or 70 seater capacity in my college. So based on that, they usually check. So if you have grades there, it definitely matters. And I say grades actually don't matter when it comes on a larger scale, but having a decent grades is really important if you're trying for jobs, because many of the jobs have a cutoff. And you might be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't have like the 80% or the 70% requirement, at that time you are not even allowed to sit in the interview. So you don't get the opportunity.
During my time, if you're an 8-pointer, you actually bypass certain level of interviews and you directly have the HR.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
then you go to the directly HR interview and you get selected. Okay, I'm done. You can actually walk out saying that I got the job. That's how it was during my time. I don't know whether that's the same thing that you guys also faced, but I just wanted to understand, like, that does actually grades matter for a person to actually get to higher levels in in any sector. May it be engineering.
In my opinion,
but I get it. Like, to actually get to a job, if you are actually focused on
even for masters, they count it. Unless you have like big pockets, it doesn't matter. But if not, it matters. Grades do matter.
It does.
Yeah. So coming back to you, like you say.
In my opinion, also, see, I got some 76%, 78% somewhere around.
That's good.
Not good enough. But right now, all I have is like I have a.
What is your benchmark?
Somewhere around 8.5 to 9. Like, see, it is engineering is a very competitive place. There are lots of people. We think we are good at something, but there are lots of people who are good at the same thing also. Right? So, but right now I have a little bit of regret where I could have done better in my engineering than I could have done a little better in my schooling and stuff, because I see people around nowadays. I see younger. I myself am younger, but I see younger people like 2023, 2022 graduates, 2024 graduates. They are from reputed colleges and they are good at grades.
Okay, so coming back to the question, like if you say that grades don't matter, how does it actually matter that you come out from a reputed college? Like, how does it actually correlate?
So when you come out from a reputed college, there'll be a lot of people, a lot of
So it's
students.
called as branding?
Yeah. It does.
I mean,
So
branding
in and around Chennai, it depends on the branding. You take top 5-10 colleges, big sharks goes only
Okay,
to those
so-
colleges, right?
So, this is sort of a controversial topic, okay? So, let's say if I come out from CEG, okay?
Yeah.
Like college, engineering college.
From which you
Yeah.
are.
So if I come out from there, what is the possibility of me actually getting a job in Apple or like Google or Microsoft? If I am a
For Apple and Google,
if I-
you have to come out of IIT.
if I am a dumb
Yeah.
and I don't have that necessary skills and then I don't have much grades, but that branding is there on my resume. So how does it actually work? If I can go to Google or if does it help me to crack that interview? At least it can take me. The ATS score might be more, but the fact is it can go to one stage, right? But you need real life experiences to actually crack those sort of interviews, right?
See,
So
grades.
that time your topic of like coming out from a reputed college doesn't even matter to people, right? It's actually at the end of the day it's skill.
See, if you want to land yourself in a company which is worth showing off,
Okay.
in that case, college branding is pretty important.
was showing off as in like telling it to relatives that
Telling it to relative, telling it to public,
it doesn't matter. Like a lot of people actually be making basic.
It doesn't really
But
matter.
they think, like,
But
companies.
Yeah.
coming from a very
So
very
stereotype,
typical South Indian
yeah.
background,
It does matter.
see it depends on the person. Like you shouldn't let it you shouldn't take it up your head and not be so depressed about it. Like, whatever you do, whatever opportunity that you get, you should be able to make the most out of it. So that is one. But regarding the college branding, that right now only I'm feeling, because in the place where we work, I see young people. Most of the people are from very much branded colleges from around Chennai.
Okay.
And what they are, they have very good potential to be in a very senior place down the line, down the next 5 to 6 years. They have they have that potential. But for them to get placed in such a big company around Chennai, I'm talking, because I've been around Chennai.
Mm-hmm.
College branding matters, and there are people in the same company who are not from so good colleges and still cracked it. So that is also there. But if you take it as a ratio, the probability is, if you are from a reputed college, from a branded college, you have a better shot.
Yeah, better shot.
I mean, I feel it's also the network you get in that place.
That is also
Yeah.
true. That is also true.
I feel like for me, the only thing worked out was than the branding. Branding, I've definitely used it in places where I had
Yes.
to crack a job.
Yes.
But like the interviews which I attended. But apart from that, the network matters a lot. So today, if I want to get into a job,
The communication with your seniors.
the seniors,
Yeah.
they can land me in any job within a week or 2 weeks. I don't even have to put efforts.
Do they?
They will.
So this is
that's thing
a few days
we
back
have
we
to
had a conversation with our CEO. This is what he was mentioning: to crack an interview at a very reputed company, and you are from branded colleges. The seniors would help them in, like, you have to go through these particular topics. So this particular company asks these topics, and they are
Yes.
focused on that.
Yes.
That guidance they get from a branded college. You have branded seniors. I would put it that way.
No, not necessarily, but yeah, I mean that's
Again,
a good add-on.
Whatever I say is controversial.
So the thing is like, so does it go for same for startups also? Like startups also look for people from reputed colleges, or like
No.
How does startup industries actually work?
So,
Like,
I mean,
how does their like onboarding or interviewing process is? Because see, you guys would have cracked that, and then probably like you are here to actually do well for the company as well.
Yes.
So how does it probably the interviewing process on the whole works out?
So I mean, I have personally worked with a lot of startups.
Mhm.
I mean, as a contractor or as a freelancer, startups comes in 2 ways, right? Like one is the funded startup,
Yeah.
like where they have like external investors and everybody comes in. These guys have big pockets. They can spend a lot. They hire the best resources without any compromise.
Mhm.
And there are some startups where they have limited resources, or these startups possibly is entirely funded by one person or two persons, right? Two people. So and in these places they compromise a little bit. But getting into a startup as a fresher is something I'd recommend everybody should try once, or even when they're in college, because startup lets you explore every aspect, right? Like you have no limitations. And I feel personally, because I'm not a long term guy in a startup or even in a corporate, like fully established corporate. The thing is, startups have more freedom to explore things, and
you'll be wearing different hats at different
every day, and you have more responsibility there. And the moment you are put up in some particular role, you have a lot of weight on your shoulders which you have to carry.
Yeah.
Right, and there's a big dependency which is also created at the same time, which doesn't happen in MNCs, I feel, because MNCs always have an alternative, and their way of operating is the same, right? They only get the key guys, and the rest everything is like
they have things for every
and everything can be replaceable.
Exactly.
The structure.
Exactly.
But getting into startup, I think, is one of the must of the things to be done. Okay. Whenever we are exposed to interviews at startup, it's mostly based on the skills which you already offers.
That was my question.
Like, does startup interviews are very tough than an MNC interview? Because I guess that startup interviews actually give you sort of like a guesstimate or something of that sort.
Yes.
Probably like,
and startups always expect you to know a skill beforehand. It doesn't happen with corporate. And if you are like, startups are always looking for a person who's already experienced in a specific niche, or has tried his hands on at least, right? So at that point, they don't have to spend a lot on the resources. Again, startups, less resources, less funds, right? Corporates, they get you, they train you from the scratch, they brush you up, and not all corporates does it. Some corporates do prefer like people who are already into that niche, and they hire it. But if you want to get into startup, first know in the background what they're actually working on, what is their stack. As a developer, I'm saying, like, what products are they building, and at the same time you can prepare for that. Yes.
I be a boon to the company, or I'm not a boon to the company.
Exactly, right. So you can know the development stack or the structure they work in. You can talk to people on LinkedIn. You can DM people or send cold emails. You can always try it. It's a very difficult task. We all keep saying, we all keep hearing, but very few people actually do it. And I have seen a lot of people a lot of super juniors to me who reached out to me on LinkedIn when I started freelancing. I have this idea, and I've raised so and so fund, and I want to build it. I was an app developer, right? So at that point, they just wanted someone as a CTO or someone as a a developer to contribute to their idea. They were like, okay, I'll give you a stake and blah blah blah, all this stuff. This always comes up as part of the process. But I think everybody should try startup and into that, and know what a startup is working on before approaching them. Right? Unless it's your own startup.
What is your take on this? Like, do people have to reach out to startups?
In my career so far, I've only been through startups. So I started my career as an intern in a very much small startup. It was a paid internship. That is where I started my career as a professional mobile application.
Startups don't pay. Not all startups pay. Okay.
But
this is just lucky.
Fortunately, it was a Delhi-based startup, and they were so they basically gave me the opportunity that I was so longing for. And
so this was post-COVID.
After the point where I created an Android app with Java, I was able to put something in my resume so that I can apply for resumes for internships.
Internships.
So, because before that, there is nothing except my bio. There is nothing to put out there. So I had to do something to apply.
So you went for a course, or you
I said I did an.
No. I'm not asking that. Like, did you actually go for a course or something where you actually learnt about
Nothing, no professional course or anything. It's like I'm already a computer science engineering. YouTube and official Android documentation. That's what helped me back then.
Okay.
And some key Udemy courses that helped me for the very basic fundamentals. So I started my career as an intern for mobile application development in a very much small startup. So yes, startups, that is where I got exposed, and At that time, what I thought as a developer or someone, I was taking care of everything. I was designing, so they were basically coming up with an idea for creating a cryptocurrency wallet. It was a so they are a startup. They wanted to compete to some other cryptocurrency wallet that was already in the global market. They had an idea, so they just came with the idea, and I got a very good senior who hired me for that internship. He was helping me throughout, and it was even that I started out with Flutter back then, and I created that app in Flutter all solely from scratch. Me and him, we came up with designs. And then I started the development. I again YouTube videos, Udemy, official Flutter documentation. That is what I did back then. And within the span of some 30 working days or something like that, we
That was the ETA.
that was not the ETA. They didn't put that pressure like we have this ETA or anything. It was a 3-month internship that I was signed up for.
Okay.
And over a span of first 10 days was basically like just go through the documentation. I was from an Android background, and like get used to Flutter. He was basically guiding me. And after that, we basically after 15 days of that from starting that internship, we got the designs, and we had a clear product understanding. So let's just go. It was a very basic app. Like it had just like 3-4 screens, and I was the only guy who had to do it. The point that I'm trying to make is I was part of design.
Okay.
I was part of product discussion. Like I was back then itself, I was welcome to give my suggestions. I was not exposed to cryptocurrency and all back then, but I had a chance to explore what are all the available cryptocurrency wallets that are in the market.
Got it.
My ideas were welcome there.
Okay.
And then after that, development was done by me with his supervision, where he will continuously review my code, and because the code that I was writing back then, it is like scribbling something on the wall.
Okay. Okay.
So he gave me some very useful tips, which even the ones which I use today.
Okay.
He was guiding me in such a way, and then post that, once we had the product done, I was the one who was testing it.
Okay.
Test like quality assurance.
all around the
You did the entire
entire
cycle
setup with a guidance,
Okay.
for an internship.
Okay.
And then post that, I was the one who got it published to
The
Play Store. It
client.
was an Android physics, so I had it published, and I'm very fortunate that they published it for me, because if they hadn't published it, I would have got it. It could have discouraged me. Like
Okay.
we did something and we don't
put in so much.
Yeah. And
it was an idea which
Yeah.
didn't
work out.
And you have a product that is a baby to you, and you can put it in your resume. Like, this is the link to my app. This is the app that I did. Like, check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
When you are in a startup, you are welcome to explore
A lot of
most of the aspects. I would say most of the aspects you are welcome to do.
Yeah. You can.
You have the opportunity.
You can work as a pseudo product manager at
Yes.
that point of time.
And also,
So
I
it-
feel your reach in a startup
Yeah.
to the
It's
top
more-
chair,
it's more-
like
it's
you
more
can talk to
flattering.
everybody, right?
Yes.
It doesn't happen in MNCs.
It's
You
more
never meet your
flattering.
CEOs.
It's more
Yeah,
flattering.
it is.
Yeah, it's more flattering. Like you
Yeah.
can meet
So
everybody.
I told you, right, the guy who hired me, he was basically the CEO of the company, and he was guiding me through. It is basically, it's a one or two guy
Okay.
functioning company,
Okay.
and they were also not very senior guys. They were like somewhere around 27, 28 years old at that time, and they
How
had
senior for you, a 21-year-old
Yeah,
kid.
21-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would have been somewhere around 21. Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Okay. So that helped you to like
Yeah,
progress
sorry,
in
yeah.
the field of Flutter.
Yes, exactly. And after that,
You
again,
stayed in that company or
no,
you shifted?
they said that they could hire me, but that they didn't have the potential to hire back then.
Okay.
So after that 3-month internship, I got moved to a much bigger startup. A little bigger startup, a Bangalore-based startup, and that is where I spent most of my career, almost 2 years and 3 months so far. And there I came across very good engineers, very good engineering managers, and they shaped me like what I am today. Whatever I know little today, they shaped me there.
Okay. You found a proper mentor.
Yeah, I found a proper mentor, and in a lot of times I would hate him because he would be harsh.
Okay.
But right now, what I feel is
That
I don't
made-
forget whatever he taught me.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to hit the stone for
Yeah.
you to get
Yeah.
shaped.
Yeah.
The diamonds are made with this.
That's
So startups now you guys are like working for MNCs and stuff like that. So what would you prefer? Like working in a startup is easier, or like working in an MNC is easier?
Controversial.
No, we should not answer this, but working in an
Like,
MNC
see,
is
everybody has different opinions.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So this is to categorize. Okay, if the person who's viewing on the other side gets an understanding. Okay, if I started my career as a startup, I would be wearing different hats,
Yes.
and that would actually groom me into a, like how Karthik said, into a different person
Yeah,
altogether.
yeah.
If I work in an MNC, I might not be exposed to that much of opportunities, but the fact is I can actually groom myself in one particular area. So
Yes.
people have different opinions. So since you guys have experienced this, I don't know whether somebody from the outside can answer this, because you guys have done both
Yeah.
the things. So you guys can actually probably tell, like, if working in a startup is easier, or like it's not easier. Working in a startup is good, or like working in an MNC would actually shape you better for your future.
I feel one should do both, but MNCs are much easier to work.
Mhm.
But the quality
You can
of
choose MNCs
Yeah.
in the much later phase of your career.
Yeah, not in the beginning, I'd say.
Okay, so
But
It is not
MNCs
like
are-
we insist on choosing startups right off the bat.
yeah.
Some
If
people are
you
comfortable.
have a better shot at the bigger MNC,
Yeah.
you're welcome.
Okay.
But like
Your answer?
in MNCs, I feel you can get better resources.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right. These people have like a lot of budget to spend on.
Yeah.
So the people you work with in MNCs come with a very rich background.
Yeah.
They might have worked on, like, let's say the managers you work with, or even the product teams you work with, they have a vast experience.
Yeah.
So your ability to learn something in an MNC
Mhm.
is more, though you're not like free to work on anything you want here,
Mhm.
and you'll be very specific.
And
to
people
what you're
don't
working
expect
on.
you to work on everything.
Yeah. So they'll have a division for
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Yeah.
product as a division, project management as a division, probably Scrum management as a division, development has
As
multiple
fast.
divisions
Yeah.
inside it, like, you know, QA is separate, our support team is separate. So I feel MNCs, the thing is you meet a lot of quality developers,
Mhm.
right? It's always what you pick from your peers, right? So you can always learn new tricks, new tactics, or the new way of, like, you know, enhancing your coding experience or even the learning experience. I always figured out a way to crack grades in school and how to learn things and how to always stay updated, right? I am not a person who watches a lot of news,
Yeah.
but I talk to people who watch news on regular basis, right? So if I have to be be updated, let's say with the global markets or even with probably F1 and Olympics, just like talk to people who are following it completely.
Yeah.
So you get the insights. That's
You get
enough
the
for you,
insights.
right?
Yeah, that's a very nice.
If you have
that's
to
a very
like
nice.
put everything together and put it into a conversation, it's much easier. So I believe in that, and I talk to a lot of people. So instead of spending time on like watching news, which is very single perspective, I get the news with a different perspective as well,
Mhm.
and I can always have my say on it, and you can always discuss. Okay, they have done it this way.
Exactly.
Why can't we do it the other way, right?
Exactly.
So that I feel is something which you can get in both the spaces. But MNCs are always good for stabilized way of life.
Yeah.
Startups are very dynamic.
If
Yeah.
you want to risk it,
Good.
Go
Put
for
a
it.
Hot
startup.
takes. Startups are fun. I don't think MNCs are fun.
Okay. That is something.
So yeah, another question would be like, so in startups, you work for a period of time,
Yes.
and then you go up a level, correct? The what do you call that? The hierarchy is sort of different.
Yes.
And the tag which they give you, that is offered to you, may be some sort of different. But when I work in a startup, I get some, maybe say as a category head or something of that sort, and then I quit. And then when I search for an MNC company, will I be taking the same position as what I quit in a startup?
Not necessarily.
How does that happen? How does that bridge
So
happen?
that solely depends on the startup you're working with.
Yeah.
So you let's say in terms of development, I'll put it. So you might be SDE3 at a startup,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
XYZ startup, and you want to get into corporate as a SDE3. It's not
Yeah.
possible.
Does it work?
Doesn't. So
You
in
have to start
MNCs
for
they have
SD.
in MNC
Yeah.
they have set these levels, right? Like L1, L2 or something. They do these kinds of levels.
So
In startup it doesn't work. See, in MNCs you can be an SDE3 or senior software engineer from a startup, but MNCs not necessarily will consider you as a
SDE3.
senior development engineer.
Okay.
Not
They
necessarily.
can take you from SDU1 again.
SDU1. So doesn't it actually make you like go down the ladder and then probably like
It is
go
like
up?
It is.
It is like starting it from the start again, like a little bit.
Doesn't it pull somebody's like progression because they would
They will always match the pay.
Yeah.
They will. So most of the cases the pay is matched, but the position is not matched.
Yeah.
I feel MNCs have put it that way because to become an SDE1 to SDE2 and vice versa to SDE3, it takes at least 4 years of a time.
Yeah, in MNCs that transition takes a lot of time.
In a startup it can be 6 months.
Yeah. If you are good at something, like there won't be this fixed from where I have been. In the official paper, they might have mentioned that 1 year is the review cycle and all.
Yeah.
But if you are doing good and you are taking up things and volunteering for certain
taking
things,
levels of
they
ownership.
will review you in between, and financially also they'll give you a hike.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the pace is slow, so it is valued more, right? So in startup you might have spent 3 years and got to SDE3. Here you have to spend like probably 4 years
4
to get
years
into
or like
SDE1
5
to
years.
SDE2,
Yeah.
right? So and sometimes even 7-8 years as well. It takes a
yeah.
different pace for everyone,
Yeah.
and also you have to be contributing. And I'd say like in startups when we work we feel as it's our own, right?
Yeah, you
When
take
you're working
ownership.
with
You
the
take ownership, right?
founder and he has a core idea and you're discussing things with him, you have to accept it as your own baby. That is when you can put your 100% or even 80% of your potential and get things done. And in MNCs it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Even if you want to consider it as your own baby, there is a lot of barriers and a lot of restrictions when you want to explore the other aspects.
Okay. Okay. So I have another question to both of you all.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't you actually look forward to higher education? What was the thing that actually made you think that okay, fine, I am doing the best I can right now. I do not require a higher education at the back of my name after a UG. Probably like how did that you guys came to a conclusion that I wanted to know about that because I did my masters.
Okay.
That helped me out in certain ways.
Yeah.
And
I want to ask about it towards the end of this
yeah.
session.
So how did you guys come to it? I know that you are relatively young.
Yeah. I
and
was about to say that.
You still have time. Do you guys have thoughts about doing a higher education or like contributing to India itself, making India grow or something of that sort? Like what is your take on that? Like do you guys think about doing higher education at some point of time when certain peers in your office or like in your group, in your circle, maybe say that hey, I'm going to higher engineering. I think that okay, fine, I have to like groom myself to the next level. I've probably been stagnant at this point of time. Does those sort of conversations happen with you guys?
Not actually. The thing is, let's say if you're not happy with your career at some point, like you started 1-2 years
Yeah.
and you
And
feel
you want a career shift or something.
career shift, that is when you can consider a master's. In my case, it was a completely different trajectory, right?
Okay.
So I started seeing money way early. You have to learn a skill and
And
sell
my
the
own
skill.
boss.
Yeah, so it was pretty easy for me. So then I decided, okay, I had plans of masters. I had put up an entire schedule. Okay, I will do masters at this point. I'll do this. Obviously, I was following seniors. I was talking
Very
to
calculated.
people, very calculated.
Okay.
And everywhere, whatever the moves I had done, it was completely calculated risks. Right? Taking risks are important because when you're doing masters, you're spending
you need to
a
take risks.
very big
Amount
amount of that. And at that point, it's a very big decision as well.
Yeah.
And if you're coming from a middle class or lower middle class, you're gonna get into debt.
Yeah.
And there is no guarantee you'll get a job right after you
Yeah.
graduate.
That-
And I didn't want to get into that part of the risk, and I felt I was already making good money, and I think I can scale this up instead of spending my time again writing assignments and
Doing
exams.
everything. You were
the
done-
same
you're
cycle.
done with
And the
that.
perk of it the perk of it is basically you can do all this from home, from your home.
Yes. I could do it from anywhere. Like I would I love to travel. I would travel a lot. I would go to new places. I could switch my entire location. Again, I'm not married. I'm just like very young, right?
Yeah.
So I could go to like Uttarakhand. I could go to Delhi, Gurgaon, Hyderabad. In like this, I could change in 2 days. I could change the whole place. Just carry 2 bags. I can go start working from there.
So it's easier for you.
It's
to
much
make
easier,
that
yes.
decision.
And higher education is something which I always had in scope. I'm not gonna lie, but I think a lockdown broke the momentum for me. And when I started actually monetizing things, I felt okay. Now I don't need this.
I'm good.
Right? I'm good. And getting into that debt right after the college debt, which has been paying for the classes which I didn't even attend. I paid a lot of money. So I feel okay. At this point, I think I can go ahead with whatever the things which are freelancing. Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I sort of opted myself out from that.
What about you? Like, you never thought about?
No, I'm considering it right now.
Okay.
So I'll put it this way. So the mindset or the thoughts about going for a higher education when you're much younger, before you start your career, you have that thought more fiercely rooted into your brain. Like, yeah, right out of this bachelor's degree, let's just go for a master's degree. When you are someone who is much younger and you haven't started your career yet, you're still in your bachelor's degree, the thought of pursuing a higher education is much more deeply fused into your thoughts. Like, right out of this bachelor's degree, you want to try out something. Masters, you research about it, you have a lot of time to do all that. But I didn't do any of that when I was in my college. And right now, I'm very much like, see, there are financial aspects to it, like whether I'll be able to do it, go abroad, do some. Whenever I feel like I need a shift in my career, I might consider it. At that time, we have to see what is my personal state, how are things around me, will I be able to go abroad and still get it done. So mostly it was the reason why I didn't even consider doing that.
So do you guys look it as a financial factor?
Yeah. So
or like, do I want to do it?
The reason, again, when I was in my college and I didn't even consider a master's degree or something, because I knew that at that point, in my personal aspect, nobody around me could afford that for me. Even if I'm going to take a loan, I'm not sure I'll get a job wherever I'm going. I should have done that much research. I was not sure about it, so I didn't take that up. But right now, I'm much more exposed to things. I have a little bit more exposure, and I see people around me, even at a later phase of their life, somewhere around 26, 27, 28, they are planning to pursue masters, seeking for a career shift or something. That is something that changed my mindset. Like, okay, even after some time, also you might consider, but I will put a lot of research in that. I'm not considering it right now. I might consider it in the future.
Okay.
And that will always come in handy.
Would you like tell the audience to actually do a higher education, or like, see, you said that COVID actually broke the momentum for you, and you also thought about it during COVID, and then probably a financial decision made you look back on it. So during COVID, a lot of colleges from abroad and from India started this online sort of education. Okay, so how well are you guys inclined to that? Like, those online educations actually help you to actually get certified on something.
Yes.
It is based on your convenience level. Like, you can do it on Saturdays, or you can do it on Sundays, or if you're like if you're not going to a full-time job, you can probably do it on a weekday also. Like, are you guys inclined to that aspect also, or like do you have difference of opinions at that point of time?
For me,
I would say, see, the point of pursuing a master's degree so let's say if you want to do a master's degree in business, people ideally choose Ireland. Ireland is something which is popular, I guess. And you chose your master's from.
I chose it from Germany.
You chose it from Germany. And what I believe is
that was a financial decision. Primarily it was a financial decision because, like you said, I didn't want to have debt, and I didn't want to have like pay so much of money to actually go do it. I want to do a quick masters, and it would be inclined to whatever work that I actually did. So all these three things, I chose a land called as Germany. I went there, did my masters.
Even in my plan, it was Germany.
But what I believe is people choose these particular colleges for these particular degrees in master to complete that degree and get a groundbreaking job there and continue.
And also there's a culture difference.
There's a culture difference. And you continue working there at least for a while. Not even like they don't have to necessarily think about settling there over. Like, you go to a different country, explore their culture, explore their work culture, and you understand it. You spend some 10-15 years in your career there. You come back to India and you try whatever you can in India. That is what I've seen around.
Yeah.
So what you asked, like doing these online and all, I don't think how helpful that.
But you're getting the same degree, right?
Yes.
The degree is same,
Yes.
but the exposure is not the same.
The exposure.
Is
So
not-
like the exposure, as you mean, like going there, getting to know their culture, sitting in
Yes,
their classrooms.
exactly.
You don't get that.
You don't get that.
So
See,
your-
you don't meet
the physical,
people.
Yeah,
the
your-
physical space is not there.
Your
Like,
preference is to not do it on an online thing.
my personal preference.
Your personal preference. What about you?
I don't think so that will add any value to me because I personally took online classes during COVID.
But your LinkedIn will look great, right?
Definitely, but I feel there's a main difference in the weightage as well, right?
Okay.
So someone doing a master's in distance, like from a different place virtually, and attending the classes actually would get different experience overall. And I feel companies also counted it. Like if I had to hire someone, and if someone has sat there in the home and learned the whole thing, I would give preference to someone who went there in person.
Yeah.
Because this guy who went in person would have faced a lot of challenges there, right, from the beginning. I want someone who's more exposed to these situations,
Yeah.
so that anything comes
You
in, he
get
can handle it.
seasoned there, right?
Sort of something like that.
You basically, since I've been there and done that,
Yeah.
you basically learn life skills.
Definitely.
That is-
Survival skills.
Yeah,
Survival
survival
skills.
skills. Survival skills to actually tackle this whole world.
Yeah.
Because when you're alone, you actually tend to do a lot of
Yeah.
thinking, and then that makes you into a better person. is
Beat
what
this
I
out.
think.
Take care of your own shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Coming back to what you said. So you said that you learn from somebody who's into a lot of news watching, and then get to understand what they have to make, because you don't watch a lot of news, right?
Yes.
So what do you guys think that what is happening in the world of tech? Is there some development in VR or AR or AI, LLM or something of that sort? What do you guys think what is groundbreaking right now is what you guys think?
I feel, our current jobs would be replaced in 3 years to 5 years.
How do you think that?
So I mean, we build apps, right? So
Yeah.
apps can be built as on date today. You can just pull out things, drag and drop. So we build in Flutter. So there's an alternative to Flutter called Flutter Flow. So Flutter Flow,
Where you necessarily
entirely
don't have to know
code
coding.
anything, right? If you have a little bit of coding knowledge, it's an add-on, but you need not be an expert. Right?
Okay.
You need not know the
But it
domain
has
entirely.
its own downsides, which is why we are still.
In
It's
the
required.
market.
Yeah, basically.
But I feel with the advancements in AI, advancements in probably AR, VR, all these things will actually simplify how we look into the development perspective.
Okay.
So one just needs an idea. Like let's say you're a product guy and
Mhm.
you just have to have the idea and you can execute it on your own. So
Yeah.
you might need a developer, but not a lot of developers, right? The scale would come
two
up.
people or 3 people. working
Yes,
with
yes. So and instead of like 20, 30, you can scale it down to maximum 4 or 5
Yeah.
to get the insights and the understanding. And that's what I feel the companies are also doing as on date. You see a lot of layoffs are happening globally, right? And if you have to stay in the job as on date, I feel you need to update yourself with extreme skills. It need not be only technical skills. It has to be the way you communicate. It has to be the way you think. It has to be the way, the overall, all these components come together, right? If you're a great tech guy, you'll definitely be valued. But at the same time, if you're not able to communicate, because let's say a different team or even your founder is not a tech guy, right? If you're not able to explain what you're doing,
Mhm.
right, that is not going to add any value to it,
Yeah.
right? So you might be an excellent developer, but if you're not able to communicate what you're trying
What
to
you're
do
trying to
and
do.
how you're solving the problem, he might not get convinced with you. So I feel as on date, like your personal branding is something which you can focus on, and apart from that, having the personal the branding, you can also focus on learning life skills side by side. Like I feel in India, like most of the colleges, we have the same curriculum from probably last 20-30 years.
Yeah.
Right? So the career starts in the same way, but there are a lot of colleges which are adapting to the latest technologies. But when we study things in college, we are studying some old stuff which are very necessary, but
You're not doing it in real life.
and we are not doing it in real life, right? I doubt anybody actually uses any of the integrations or differentiations or trigonometry. Until unless you are into like data science or all these aspects. I mean, it is useful if you are in certain aspect. And I feel from the beginning, if we learn a skill and we pick up something, so I always had a choice between two things. So I always mastered two things like plan A, plan B, plan C, right? So I always had an alternative career. So as on date, if this doesn't work out, what can I do? So that is something we need to apply in terms of this, right? So if there's some company is going to like lay off you, you need to figure out what else you can offer, right? Yeah. If you are not able to offer anything, jobs would be difficult. And these advancements in AI and all these aspects, I feel it's taking down the jobs. The reason is we're automating most of the stuff.
If so, let me ask you this question in a different way. So if I have to like go in alignment with AI, what should I learn? What are the jobs or what are the opportunities that I actually have to look forward to? Because you're saying developer, being a developer, I know that my job is going to be shrunk, maybe around like 2 or 3 people, right? Yes. So with the advancements in AI, so if I have to go in alignment with AI, how should I actually frame my career out? Like, is there a possibility that you can share or you're looking into?
Yes. Because like I know it is going to go extinct, right? So I am adding on things to my personal skills which I can enhance and offer. So development is one aspect which is very simple. Anybody can learn in a matter of a month or two, right? At least the basic parts of development. It's not like a rocket science or something. But add on to development, I'm learning skills with respect to AI. Right? I'm learning Python. I'm learning machine learning models. Like we have NLP. Right? I'm trying to add on these aspects and club it with the application development. Right? Okay. The last company or the product I worked with had a lot to do with this as well. So I use a lot of TensorFlow libraries. So as on date, if you want an image to detect that's a human or a cat, it has to be trained, right? Yeah. Because AIs are dumb. I mean, the computers are dumb. Yeah. If you don't tell them what to do, they don't know anything, right? Yeah. So whenever we have to train, we have to give it a huge set of data. Because when I say human, there is main difference between human, like there are a lot of animals similar structure
what I see and what I
see. So if you give it like 10 data set, the accuracy would be less. So the more images you give thousands, lakhs of images, then it will be able to determine all the aspects, right? So you give it 1 lakh images of a sad person. So the next time the AI comes in, it can figure out if the person is sad or not, right? So the trained model will be used. So it will have certain, like it's all pixels. At the end of the day, it's all bytes, right? It's all small bits, 0, 1, right? So all these things, I mean, at this point, I'm adding on.
You're adding
more things to my resume or more my skill set because I want to be competent, right? So 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years, or 10 years down the line, as technology changes, we need to adapt. And in this segment specifically where we are in, if you're not adapting, you'll be kicked out very soon. Yeah, that's the part of layoffs again.
What about you? Like, you like looking into all these stuff as well?
Yeah.
Do you have separate ideas to actually?
Yes, but I'm not looking into AI as much as he does. Like he did explain it pretty well. So see, again, hot take is nothing is permanent. Like see, wherever you go, whatever you do, people go run behind learning a framework, learning a particular language. Yeah. It is all just part of one bigger picture. Yeah. So see, even if you can go behind AI, and I'm pretty sure like AI can be further explored for at least next 30 to 50 years. People will. It is the hot topic in town. That kind of a thing right now, right? Yeah. So, but still, again, at a point it will also become outdated, and you should have the ability to upskill yourself basically. And I myself, yes, I just look out for AI news. I read the gist of it, and I just move on. I'm not very much that attracted towards AI development. But whatever he was mentioning, the training LLMs. So that is where data science and data engineers come into picture, and that is so. If someone who's watching who wants to pursue a master's or something from a computer science background, they can choose specific degrees, master's degrees in AI, data science, which will like it will be an investment for them for the next 10 to 15 years.
That's what you predict.
That's what I predict
Okay.
right now.
And I feel these degrees are nothing but like the entire resources on Google put up in a semester
Yeah.
and all together, right? That's what I figured out from the education system. Like if you have to like figure out and learn something on your own, everything's available online.
Yeah, everything is available.
And probably at no cost or even a
The
bare
fact is, people don't sit and then
and
try
search
to
for
learn
things,
for
right?
it.
Like
Or
when you
don't give
get-
the correct prompt to
Yeah.
search it.
that is the
Yeah.
thing. And again, when we say prompt engineering is
Yeah,
also
prompt.
a job today, right?
I recently saw AI prompt product manager. I don't
Yes.
know what that role actually does, because I don't know, like prompting is like, okay fine, during when I was young, you play thumbs up, you prompt a thing.
Yes.
And then probably like the other person figures it out, or else he has 10 tries to figure it out. That's prompting is according to my knowledge. But right now there's a job for prompt
Prompting,
engineer.
yes.
So, and I don't know how that works. Like I go there, I type certain level of prompts, and then probably like that actually gets updated in the background. And probably like when Pawan searches it, probably that prompt will add up to a probable customer and probably give off the right answer is my understanding. But
No,
I
to
also
put it
may
in
not.
simple words, again, as I said, computers are dumb.
Yeah.
You just tell it what you
need-
want.
Yeah, you
exactly,
need
then
humans.
it's
You
prompt.
need humans at the end of the day
Yes.
to probably do the job that your senior peer asks it. So
Yeah.
probably like that. One interesting question which I have, like you guys are developers, right? So
Yeah.
how do you actually make sure that your mental health and your physical health is on the right track? Because I've had friends, I still have friends who sit and code for 12 hours, stay together. And then when I was in Germany, people used to like sit late nights to do coding and then sabotage their health basically. But the next day we cook biryani, we eat. Okay, so that's a different story. We get all the protein in. But how do you guys like take care of it? Like, do you guys prioritize on that? Do you have a regime that okay, I am a developer, but yeah, during COVID, everybody got into a phase that yeah, I have to look into my health and mental health as well. Do you guys have a specific regime that you guys follow that you guys can impart to the larger audience?
Yeah, I mean, I've been someone who has suffered from that, I'd say.
Okay.
It's very difficult. Like, every developer is a lazy
Yeah.
guy, right? Okay. He wants everything to be done in a easier way. Like,
Yeah.
even if you get into development, I think that is something which is going to come with the title developer itself, right?
Yeah.
So it was very difficult. At the time, I was working almost 20 hours a day or 22 hours a day
Wow.
with 2 hours of sleep.
Wow.
That it's not wow, right? So I ran it for like
I'm
5
thinking
months.
how much caffeine did you actually consume?
I didn't even
You don't
consume
need caffeine.
I
You
didn't
don't
have
need
to
caffeine.
actually
The
consume
problem that
caffeine.
you're trying to solve,
That will
it
keep
will
you
keep
up.
you occupied.
So there were times even if I try to sleep, all I get in my head is code, right?
When you're
Okay, I
solving,
have solved a bug or I have a bug. How do I solve it? That solution comes in my sleep. I get up and I continue doing it.
Okay.
And this ran for almost 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine sitting on a chair, not moving, for almost 5 months and getting 2 hours of sleep. I was sleep deprived. I mean, I got a lot of dark circles and all of the stuff. And I was not going out at this point as well. Like it was like all I have is my room.
Yeah.
I sit here and I do it. I would barely talk to people at my own house as well, right?
Okay.
So it was the things I was doing. Like I was working in 2-3 internships at a time. So I
Mhm.
figured out like for jobs, to apply for jobs in college, you need to have something on your resume. So I was like, okay, why not? Like I had done a couple of internships, but I wanted to like try for larger companies, like big companies who are paying big, right?
Yeah.
Or even Japanese firms. We had like a lot of like campus selection coming in my college. So at that point, I figured out, okay, let me just put up a lot of time and get more internships. So I started doing multiple internships simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
So I did 3 of them side by side.
Okay.
So I would spend.
Did all the other companies know about you?
No, nobody knew this. Nobody knew this. And
Now they will know.
Nobody will know now as well. But like most of the companies were startups, right?
Okay.
So they didn't actually care about what I was doing unless I was getting the job done.
Yeah.
And
nobody does.
Nobody does actually, and like, that is something which happens. But at some point I figured out I was ruining my health entirely, and I checked my weight out of nowhere. I had like 110.
110.
110. Like I have a higher bone density, but 110 was too much.
Yeah.
So considering that as well, and from there I started considering it. It was very difficult to sleep post that. Okay, and then I started adding on probably I tried sleeping pills, I tried melatonin supplements, all of the stuff. But at some point I understood if I don't fix my health, if I don't fix the mental state, I cannot be very productive. And I saw the difference the moment I started adding a regime to it, right? I added a routine, like get up at certain time, work out, and probably like spend good amount of time on cooking or eating good food. And that's when like a lot of things changed. Adding meditation. As on date, I try to get up in the morning, I do meditate, right? It helps a lot. And since again the screen time gets you glasses as well. I'm very surprised he doesn't have glasses.
You touch wood.
Yeah. So I mean, any developer who's been like.
So you were not wearing glasses previously? Like
No. I didn't have it like till class 10.
Okay.
So the moment I started with computers, it just increased. And I never gamed as well. All I did was read stuff.
He did a lot of things, but he still.
Please.
Yeah, he gamed. That's the surprising part for me.
Yeah.
Maybe it will go.
It's just lucky or some genes.
So yeah, coming back to you, you have a regime, right?
I have a regime right now, and I think everyone should have one.
How much do you weigh right now?
I weigh around 87.
That's good, right? You brought down 20 kgs.
And
Yes.
how does your regime look like? Like, give us a gist of it.
So I get up like early in the morning now. I mean, again, this changes every 2 months once, and I get lazy for a month.
You read 5 AM Club?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And
that's a good book.
I believe like these books are gonna help a lot.
Yeah.
Like there are a couple of books I recommend, like Atomic Habits, just to add habits, right?
Yeah, 2 minutes habits.
Yes, so that is something which sort of changed my
Explore that
perspective
from me. I
about.
was going to talk about that.
No, Atomic Habits. Okay.
Because that is the only.
There are a lot of things. There are a lot of things.
That is the only book that I read. So
That builds you habits. That
Yeah.
builds
Yes.
you daily habits.
I mean, I sort of reread the book a couple of times.
Yeah.
Though I knew what was there, I just read it because.
Self-help books have a separate thing.
Yes,
it helps
and
you.
not everyone finds it fascinating as
suggest
well.
more for me.
We
Yeah,
can come up with
maybe-
more like
yeah.
Eat That Frog, Psychology of Money to Understand About Finances, or
And
even
there is
Richest Man in Babylon.
About self-development.
These
Yeah,
are all
these are all
about your
self-development.
like that is the
Rich Dad,
only
Poor Dad.
niche. Like I spend a lot
finance
of time.
books are Rich Dad Poor Dad and stuff like that. 5 AM Club is actually to get you into a regime, like you wake up early. It actually tells you about what you have to do when you wake up.
Yes.
And that's actually a really good book.
Okay.
And some books by Robin Sharma are really good.
Yeah. Monk Who Sold His
Monk Who
Ferrari.
Sold His Ferrari.
There are a lot
stuff
of
like
very
that.
like good weightage books, I'd say.
Yeah.
And this will change a perspective. It is not something absolutely new out of nowhere.
If you want to like develop yourself as a human being, you should actually read David Goggins' book, which is
something even I should note it.
I forgot the name of the book, but yeah, the author's name is David Goggins. He's a triathlonist. He's a really good book. I'll send you the book. Maybe I'll link it out in the
Description or
as well, yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So you have a regime which is set up so that you are working towards that.
Yes.
So that is helping you to like code better.
Cope up with everything in life,
Yeah.
I'd say, because as we grow, the challenges grow, right?
Yeah.
So sort of everything's being balanced because of that.
Yeah.
It feels a little bit hectic, but 1 hour of workout is just 4% of your day.
Yeah.
Right? We spend it scrolling Instagram,
Yeah.
even more than that. And I think we should put 1 hour a day at least towards the mental health and the physical health to like actually settle or even live in this world, right? This eco space. It's really important, I feel.
So what about you, Karthik? You also have a regime?
Yeah. I don't know if I
How
should
do
be telling
you, how do you guys like you have an ergonomical chair or what? Like, do you guys feel anything on your back when you sit and code? Do you guys have any?
Yeah, our
on your back?
workspaces does, but we don't generally utilize that ergonomics fully. We'll mostly sit like this. I would sit like this because
I've
you
been
are
trying to
into
work on my
something. You
posture as well.
forget that you are sitting like
Because
this.
a lot of people have posture corrections
Yes.
at a certain point of time. So yeah, continue.
Yeah.
You have a
So
regime?
I haven't had any regime up until 6 months before. I started reading Atomic Habits only because basically I was bored. I was going to work. I was coming back. I was not knowing anything new. Most of the time I just watched some movies. I was not hanging out much at that time. Right now I do a little bit. I socialize a bit more. But yeah, I just wanted to see if I can read books. So I started with Atomic Habits, and right off the bat when I was reading, it was helping me a lot to start new habits. I started reading it in March, and somewhere in 2-3 days I started hitting the gym from March, and till today every working day I hit the gym.
Okay.
So
every working day.
Every working day.
You don't give a rest.
No. Until unless I'm sick or until I'm traveling.
Do you mean like working days as in 5 days a week?
5 days a week.
Yeah,
Yes,
not
working
7 days a week.
Not
Yeah.
I thought 7 days.
No, 5 days a week. Saturday, Sunday, I'll sleep in the morning because before work I go to the gym every morning. It is like I don't have any aspiration to become to have a aesthetically, physically fit body or anything.
Just
It's
stay healthy.
Just go
Yeah.
burn yourself.
Yeah, burn yourself.
Before you
yeah.
burn the code.
And my regime looks like I'll do a 15-20 minute cardio.
Okay.
Most of the time it is just jumping ropes.
Mm.
And then otherwise I'll do treadmill, I'll do a quick jog, and then it will be an individual muscle workout every working day. That keeps me energetic throughout the day, and I'll have a good night's sleep. I can go to bed early, somewhere around 11 to 11:30 or maximum 12, and that helps me. And speaking of atomic habits convinced me that you do something like this, you will see changes eventually, not immediately.
Not immediately.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the closing of episode 2 from the CogentX podcast. I hope that you got some valuable insights from our brightest minds from CogentSoft. I hope that you guys will have a lot of upcoming episodes where we will bring in our software developers or from people from outside the technological environment as well. Do watch this space for more, and do click on the subscribe button to not miss out on any content as well. And till then, take care of your health. Cheers. Bye.